and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if everybody's going to testify, if you remain standing and raise your right hand, I'll swear everybody in. Do you all swear or affirm that the truth, the testimony you give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? For the benefit of the respondent, my name is Drew Smith. You can be seated. My name is Drew Smith. You can be seated. Oh, no, you can be seated. I'm just introducing myself. That's okay. My name is Drew Smith. I'm the Code Enforcement Magistrate for the City of St. Cloud. My role in these proceedings is to be an independent finder of fact. So we'll go through each case. I hear yours is already first, so we don't need to move you up to the front. You'll be the first one we hear. The Code Enforcement officer will present their evidence testimony first. After I've heard that, it will be your opportunity to tell me anything else you'd like me to hear. If you have any evidence, I will receive that. When I've received everything, I will make a determination on the facts and render an oral opinion today, and that will be followed in the mail by a written order that you'll receive. Okay? And Code Enforcement, and clerk can call the first case.
Case number 2024-1439, Jacob Stokes Nuss, owner, location of violation 1414 Minnesota Avenue, St. Cloud, Florida.
Good afternoon, April Bennett, Code Enforcement Officer. I'm presenting this case for the property located at 1414 Minnesota Avenue. At this time, I would like to enter into evidence the following items. Copy of the certified IPMC notice sent by certified mail to the owner of record. Copy of the statement of violation and notice of hearing sent by certified mail to the owner of record, post of the property and City Hall. Copy of the PowerPoint presentation, affidavit of postings, evidence of mailings, the code section in violation of, a copy of the original deed to the property, and a copy of the cost incurred if the magistrate finds the respondent in violation in the amount of $320.77. The representative for the property owner is here. He represents the property management company, and he has been provided with copies.
Okay, thank you.
On November 18th of 24, Code Enforcement was contacted by a tenant in Unit A for a housing inspection to be performed at this location. On November 19th, a housing inspection was completed, and I observed the following. There were leaks in the ceiling, visible bug infestation, missing window screens, missing smoke alarms, exterior doors that did not seal, sewage backup, leaking shower, buckling floor, a light not secured to the ceiling, inoperable windows. There was a support member to an exterior staircase that was bent. Roof metal was not secured. There was missing flashing and soffit, high grass and weeds, and just general maintenance issues. 12 photos were taken.
What am I looking at? What's the airport?
That is what the tenant said was like bug feces that was on several of our items.
Same question there. What am I looking at?
It's the ceiling where one of the leaks is happening. It's cracking the ceiling down the middle.
And here, what is this?
Just there was a hole in the wall on the staircase.
This wall.
Yeah, the tenants taped it up because they didn't know if bugs were coming in from it.
Couldn't tell if it was wall or ceiling.
Yeah, wall. That's the shower with the shower running. I don't know if you can see the water in the picture. That's running out onto the floor.
Okay.
Hole in the door. That's lighting coming in around the one of the doors.
That was an exterior door that you were just showing me, right?
Yes, sir. That's broken tile that was on the stoop out front that was a potential trip hazard. That's the buckled support member to the outside staircase.
Looks like it's got metal. Has it been, looks like it's been fixed at some point.
It may have been repaired at some point. I've got a better picture of it from a side view. You can see where it's like actually split apart on the back side.
Soffit, right?
Yes, soffit and the metal not attached. Again, soffit, rotten wood underneath there. no window screens or insect screens. Okay. On December 12th, I was able to verify that USPS attempted to deliver the certified IPMC notice. However, no one was available. I called the owner of record to discuss the violations, and he requested that I email him a copy of the IPMC notice. I emailed him a copy that day. On December 17th, I received a call from Karen with Solomon Real Estate Group advising that she had just taken over the property management and she would need time to address the violations. She was going to obtain bids to have the work completed and requested an additional 30 days for compliance. The compliance date was updated until January 20th. On December 20th, I received an email from the property management company with multiple invoices attached for pest control, drain clearing, and miscellaneous maintenance items. On January 18th, I received an email from the property manager stating there were the following repairs made to Unit B. The hole in the wall near the staircase was repaired. The light fixture was attached to the ceiling. The hot water that was previously running to the toilet had been corrected, and the bathroom repairs were made to the shower. On January 21st, I called to speak with the property manager to confirm that I did receive her last email about the repairs that were made. During this conversation, she advised that the smoke alarms were ordered and would be installed on January 29th. Dirt was being delivered to repair the washed-out driveway, and a permit was pulled for the roof. I was able to verify that a roof permit was issued on January 10th. She requested additional time to cure the remaining violations. Additional time was granted, and the compliance date was updated till February 28th. On February 28th, an appointment was made with the tenants in Unit A and B for March 4th. On March 4th, the reinspection was completed, and I observed high grass and weeds, plumbing issues such as sewage backing up into Unit A, shower leaking in Unit B, hot water was still being supplied to the toilet, non-operable windows, missing insect screens, the areas of the previously buckled floor were not repaired, unsecured carpeting on the staircase, exterior doors that were not sealing, and then the exterior stairs with the damaged support member. 14 photos were taken. That's just showing the missing screen from the slider. That's more insect feces. Lighting coming in around from an exterior door. The shower was still leaking, and that was, you can't really tell from the photo, but that's wet baseboards. The upstairs bedroom for the master bedroom, the windows, again, they don't have insect screens, but they were repaired where they were sealed shut. So there was no means of egress from the master bedroom.
Painted shut? Do you know, were they just painted shut?
It was like some type of ceiling that was put around the window, and so they weren't able to open them after it dried.
Grass?
High grass and weeds, yes, sir. That's the support member from that picture. You can see where the back side of it, where it's separated. On March 24th, I received an email from the property owner advising that he had spoke with the property manager to outline his expectations and solidify a timeline for the remaining repairs. He was going to prioritize the plumbing issues, the staircases, and the window issues. He requested additional time for the repairs since they were trying to schedule around the tenants' schedules. On April 4th, I called and left a voicemail for the property owner advising that I had received his email and will grant an additional 30 days, which updated the compliance date to May 5th. On May 5th, I attempted to contact the tenants to set an appointment, but was unable to make contact with them at that time. On May 14th, I learned that the tenant in Unit A was allowed to break her lease and move from the location. Unit B had received a letter about breaking their lease due to the repairs needing to be made to the property. The tenant stated that she was going to seek legal counsel because she was not expecting that. On May 22nd, I sent a statement of violation and notice of hearing by certified mail to the owner of record, posted the property and City Hall, completed an affidavit of posting, and 3 photos were taken. On May 23rd, I received a voicemail from Michael from Caldwell Banker stating that he was going to be working with Karen, the property manager, in reference to this location. He stated that the tenant in Unit A vacated the property. However, the tenant in Unit B had retained legal counsel, and she would be staying until her lease was up, which would be 2 more months. He requested additional time to allow for the repairs to be made, and for the tenants in Unit B to move out. Additional time was not granted. On June 13th, a reinspection was completed. I observed high grass and weeds. However, I was not able to verify the condition of the inside at that time. 5 photos were taken. It is the city's recommendation the respondent be found in violation of allowing the residential dwelling units to be lived in without proper maintenance and repairs and not corrected by the time specified. The city would recommend the respondent be given until July 18th of 25 to cure the violations and complete an inspection walkthrough with the code officer, or a fine in the amount of $250 a day be assessed until compliance is met. The city would also request the cost incurred in bringing this case before the magistrate in the amount of $320.77 to be paid within 7 days of the written order by the special magistrate. And that concludes my presentation.
I know your last inspection was exterior only, so this question is asked, understanding that, and so answer me to the best of your ability, as you know from your most recent inspections of the inside. I'm looking at your IPMC violation letter. As I go down that list, has anything on the list of violations been cured to this point?
There have been a few things cured. They have a pest control company now that manages the property, so the pests are being addressed. They have had the...
So that would be the Section 309 violations.
Yes.
Okay, anything
And
else?
again, I'm assuming that it's resolved the issue. I just had invoices that they've secured somebody. I haven't actually been able to speak to the tenants to make sure that they don't still see infestation. That's just based off of the invoices that I received, that I do know that they have secured a pest control company. I just don't, like I said, I haven't been able to speak to the tenants to find out if it cured the issue or not.
Okay.
And like I stated in my narrative, there was a hole in the wall that was repaired. The light was reattached to the ceiling.
But there are still other
There's still other,
issues on those same code sections.
Correct.
I'm just going through and making sure that I pull out any code sections that are no longer applicable.
yes, sir.
So are there any of the sections that you've cited that should be pulled out at this point? That's really what I was getting to.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're still gonna stand with 304.7 for the roof. The roof was repaired, but there is still missing soffit there, so I'm gonna stay with that one.
I'm assuming you're staying with everything unless you tell me to pull it out.
Okay, I'm trying to read through here real quick, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
So we can go ahead and not do 605.1 for the lighting since that was addressed and attached back to the ceiling. And then the sections under 704 for fire protection, that was taken care of because they got the smoke detectors installed and I was able to verify that. So
Okay.
that would be all that I would be removing.
Okay. I have no further questions this time.
Thank you.
Respondent, you can come up. I know I've already heard it, but if you would state your name and relationship to the property for me. And what you've handed me, show it to council, appears to be a list of items that you're going to allege have been completed.
So, my name is Michael, my last name is Solomon. I am the broker owner of Caldwell Banker Solomon. We are the property management company, and this house, this duplex has been, obviously has been an issue. We're trying to do everything possible to get everything accomplished. We want, but we know a number of these items we're not going to be able to do until we have 2 vacant units. We have a lot of subflooring issues that we'll have to tear up the flooring. The staircase, obviously access to the upstairs unit. When we go to take that off, it may be days before someone can use the staircase to go back upstairs again. So we took the steps. The Unit A tenant agreed and moved out in May. We gave notice for Unit B, and I'll read her letter. She says, "Hello, this letter is from Michael Solomon, and the owner of property 1414 Minnesota, Unit B. We received your notice on May 12th for notice of termination. Due to our written lease, we will not be moving out." She has had a lot of issues. Respectfully, we're trying to address all those issues, but when we told her, well, you may move out, we'll return your security, we will return your last month's rent, we thought that was going to be the case. Mr. Noose had arranged, and we had everything ready for June, to get all this work done in June. But with her refusal to move, now we're at liberty to wait till the end of July. She will be out on August the 1st. We will have 2 vacant units, and Mr. Noose has plans to jump right in and do anything and everything that hasn't been done yet. But we need 2 vacant units to be able to do this properly. When he bought this property, he had an inspection, but unfortunately, the inspector missed many, many things. And it's been nothing but fix and repair ever since. And it's unfortunate it happened that way, but he wants to make it right. He wants these 2 units to be sound so that we as a property manager, you as a wonderful community, don't have continual issues like this. The tenant is supposed to be responsible for the grass, and I just drove by it and I'm like, you know, I'll get someone over there to weed whack it at this point.
At the end of the day, it's the property, between the city and the property owner, it's the property owner's problem. That lease is between the property owner and the tenant, but we can't go after the tenant, we can only go after
Yeah.
the property owner.
So our goal is to make it sound, but I'm going to plead for the month of August because that's the month that we will now have it be vacant where we can do the job properly.
Okay. I have some thoughts on that, and I probably am not too far off from where you are on timing. Actually, as I was listening to the case, do we have the respondent's exhibit? That was the 1 copy, so I was providing it to you before I took it into evidence. Are there any objections to it?
Would you like the code enforcement officer to respond to it, or you just?
Right now, I just want to get it, is there any objection to it? I'll get it into evidence, and then we'll go through it. I haven't taken a look at it yet, I don't even know what it says.
And that's, I had asked April whether, you know, when was the last that she had been in. But in Unit A, which is now the vacant one, smoke alarms were completed. The ceiling repair was completed. Yes, we've had a sewer issue over there, probably a root in the sewer line. There's an invoice provided from 1124 for snaking the lines. But she told, this is, you know, spoke with the tenant yesterday and recently had another backup. So we're going to continue to work on that. The screens, yes, that still needs to be done. The windows, yes, still need to be done. They did do interior pest control now on both units. And then Unit B, which is still the occupied unit, we have a hole in the bathroom door, not all the way through, but you saw pictures of it. But the buckled flooring that you see described in here, damaged wood, in the staircase, loose carpeting, all of this comes back to a damaged or improper subfloor. And we're gonna have to tear that whole flooring up to get to that, to do it right, and someone can't be occupying the property at that point. The hole in the wall near the staircase was corrected. Damaged floor in that bathroom, we did correct that. The hot water going to the toilet, I don't know how you come up with that, but that was corrected. The light hanging picture, that was corrected. Smoke alarms were added to Unit B, and now the interior pest control is happening. The outside staircase needs repaired. Karen has it completed, so I have not seen that myself, but I want to see that. Property needs to be mowed, yes, for sure. Driveway needs to be repaired. That was completed. They had to bring in soil for that. Broken tile on that front porch. We saw the picture. That was completed. And then the roof, it's an all-new roof on that property now. The tenants, we've been challenged by the tenants' schedule and their cooperation, basically, to allow us to get in and do the things that we need to do. But the owner and we are committed to getting everything corrected, so.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So we just conferred quickly, given the situation with the tenant, the city would be willing to adjust its recommendation with a September 1
Okay. I was
compliance
gonna say
date.
August 31, so then we're all on the same page then.
Right. We'll give them basically the full month of August beyond what we're asking for.
Will there be permits required for some of this work?
He mentioned
Possibly.
possibly, especially with this, I don't know about the stairwell case and maybe the flooring.
So I'm gonna break that up a little bit, just so that we don't get to August, and then work that you could have done while tenants were still there, getting delayed. I'm going to include in the order that any permits that are required for the work be obtained by the end of July. That way any permits are in hand, and as soon as that tenant vacates, the property owner can get to work. Because I don't want to be waiting for a tenant to vacate before permit applications are made, because that tenant can be there when those permits are applied for.
Okay.
But that is, anything from anybody else?
No, thank you.
That is my finding, with the exception of those that were identified as known to be in compliance by the code enforcement officer. I am going to find the property remains in violation of the IPMC sections that were cited, except for those that were removed. I will order that those violations be cured as follows: that any necessary permits for the work to cure these violations be obtained by July 31st. And by obtained, I mean in hand, not just applied for. And that the work be completed by September 1st. And that includes the inspection by code enforcement to verify, or the allowing code enforcement to inspect to verify completion by September 1. So that inspection should occur by September 1 too. Is that reasonable for everybody? Is that enough time? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I will also order, if not brought into compliance, the fines will be $250 per day until compliance is met. And also order the respondent to pay the administrative costs incurred by the city. That amount is $320.77. Is there any hardship that you know of to your client that would prevent that from being paid? Normally, I'd say 7 days. If you ask for more time, I am pretty free with that time, because our number one priority here is to get properties into compliance. Do you think there's any hardship in paying the cost by 7 days? Okay. Then that is my order, and like I said, your client will receive one by the mail. And if you'd like, you'd give me an email address or a physical address, I can have a copy mailed to you.
You want to give it to him now?
If you'll provide me an address, I can make sure you get a copy.
My address, yes.
If we give it to him right now, just saying. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
1182 West Osceola Parkway, Kissimmee, Florida, 34741.
And I'm sorry, what is the Coldwell Banker?
Yes, sir.
And
Coldwell Bank-
attention, your name again, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Coldwell Banker Solomon.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much. Anything else on this case? Okay, you're free to stay, but you can also leave. We will not be offended.
Thank you.
And here's that.
Case number 2025-243, Jordan Anthony T. McLaughlin and Christy Leigh Rupchand, location of violation 1512 Pennsylvania Avenue, St. Cloud, Florida.
Alex Miller, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of St. Cloud. We would like to request a continuance on this case.
Okay.
Thank you.
Case number 2025-260, St. Cloud MHP LLC owner, location of violation 196 13th Street, St. Cloud, Florida.
Good afternoon. Alex Miller, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of St. Cloud. At this time, I would like to enter into evidence the following items: copy of the observation notice, copy of the courtesy notice sent by regular mail, copy of the notice of violation sent by certified mail, copy of the statement of violation and notice of hearing sent by certified mail posted at the property in City Hall, copy of the PowerPoint presentation, affidavits of posting, evidence of mailings, copy of the sections in violation, a copy of the deed to the property, and a copy of the cost incurred if the magistrate finds the respondent in violation in the amount of $294.05, and the respondent is not here. On March 10, 2025, while on patrol, I observed that there was a mobile home trailer installed at this location that was creating an obstruction of the right-of-way, and 3 photos were taken. On March 11, I received a complaint about the same trailer, and I advised the complainant that I have observed the trailer and I will be proceeding accordingly. I verified that there was no permit application and no business tax receipt for a landlord license on record. I went to the office and spoke with the property manager for the park and explained the violations and how they will need to be corrected. An observation notice was provided for the violations. And on 3/12, an email was also sent to the corporate office advising them of the violations. On March 20, a reinspection was performed and verified that the violations were not corrected, and 1 photo of the mobile home trailer was taken. On March 21st, a courtesy notice was sent to the owner and agent to correct the violations. On April 17, a reinspection was performed and verified that the violations were not corrected. A notice of violation by certified mail was sent to the owner and agent to correct the violations. On May 23, I received an email from the director of the mobile home park advising that the trailer has been moved back from the right-of-way and asked if that would put the case in compliance. I explained that a permit will still need to be obtained, and a business tax receipt for a landlord license has not been obtained. I did not get a reply after that. On May 30th, a reinspection was performed and verified that the violations were not corrected, and 1 photo was taken. On June 3rd, a statement of violation and notice of hearing was sent by certified mail to the owner and agent, posted the property in City Hall. An affidavit of posting was created, and 1 photo of the posting was taken. On June 13, I verified that there was still no permit on record, and a business tax receipt for a landlord license has not been obtained, and 3 photos of the trailers were taken. On June 18, I verified that a business tax receipt for a landlord license was obtained, but still no permit application for the mobile home trailer on record. It is the city's recommendation that the respondent be found in violation of allowing a mobile home trailer to be installed prior to obtaining a permit and not obtaining a business tax receipt for a landlord license by the time specified. The city will recommend that the respondent be given until July 7, 2025 to obtain a permit or remove the trailer, or a fine in the amount of $250 be assessed until compliance is met. The city will also request that the cost incurred in bringing this case before the magistrate in the amount of $294.05 to be paid within 7 days of the written order by the special magistrate. And this concludes my presentation.
Okay, let me make sure I understand. So they did come in after the compliance date, and they have now obtained their business tax receipt?
Yes,
Or
sir.
paid for their business tax receipt, okay. But that was after the time set in your notice of
Yes, sir.
violation, correct? Okay. Now help me understand the other permit issue.
So the trailer they brought into the park needs to have a permit because they need to obtain permit. The permit needs to go through building and planning and zoning because they need to get permits for the MEPs, the mechanical, the plumbing, and it also has to meet the setback requirements as far as for planning and zoning goes. So they need to obtain a permit for the mobile home installation because it's going to be a permanent structure.
That's why, so really, that permitting probably has to do with the connections, the permanent connections of that mobile home trailer. Okay, that's
the
what I was looking
setbacks.
for. That's
Yes,
what I
sir.
needed, thank you. I needed to understand that connection to that and building permit. Okay, I have no other further questions. Anything else from you?
No, sir, thank you.
Based on the evidence testimony presented, I find in favor of the city, find that the respondent was in violation for failure to obtain a business tax receipt. I will find that that violation was cured after the time of the notice of violation for cure, but prior to today's hearing. So I will simply be making a finding of fact as to that violation. As to the building permit violation, I find that that violation continues. Will order the respondent to cure that violation by July 7th, 2025. If not brought into compliance, a fine of $250 a day will run until compliance is met. We'll also order the respondent to pay the administrative costs incurred by the city in the amount of $294.05, that amount due within 7 days of the date of my written order.
Case number 2025-456, IH6, Property Florida LP, owner, repeat violation, location of violation 1982, Comsol Way, Kissimmee, Florida.
Hi, good afternoon. Everett Cole, Co-Compliance Supervisor, presenting case number CE 25-456 for property located at 1982 Comsols Way, St. Cloud, Florida, 34769. On behalf of Code Enforcement Officer Alex Miller, at this time I would like to enter into evidence the following items: a copy of the statement of violation and notice of hearing sent by certified mail, posted at the property and city hall, copy of the PowerPoint presentation, an affidavit of posting, evidence of mailings, copy of the code section in violation, a copy of the deed to the property, and a copy of the costs incurred if the magistrate finds a respondent in violation in the amount of $254.77. The respondents are not here today. On May 20th, 2025, Code Officer Miller received a call from the tenant of this location requesting a housing inspection because she was having some issues and has not received cooperation from the owner. She also verified that this property did not have a landlord license, business tax receipt. A statement of violation and notice of hearing was sent to the owner to notify them about the violations. On May 21st, Code Officer Miller posted the property in question and City Hall along with completed affidavit of posting, and one photo was taken. On June 13th, a reinspection was performed and verified that there was an application on record, but the landlord license business tax receipt has not been issued. On June 16th, Code Officer Miller verified the property had obtained their required license. On June 18th, I verified that the property has in fact obtained its required license. It is the city's recommendation that the respondent be found in repeat violation. The city would recommend that the respondent be assessed a fine in the amount of $250 since the violation was first observed. The city would also request that the cost incurred in bringing this case before the magistrate in the amount of $254.77 to be paid within 7 days of the written order by the special magistrate, and that concludes my presentation.
Right, I'm just trying to find the dates. Probably better to ask, you probably can point me right where they are. So the date it was first observed was
On May 20th.
5/20, and then did I hear you correctly that they, as of June 18th, they were in compliance?
So I have the calculation, May 20th to June 16th would be 27 days out of compliance to a grand total of $6,750.
Okay, and then this question goes to the amount of the fine you've requested. If, in your landlord license process, is part of that obtaining of a permit for landlord license, is there an inspection performed of property to make sure it's habitable or fit for habitation? Is there an inspection associated with that?
No, sir.
Okay, the reason I ask is there a life safety, welfare relationship of the permitting to the violation?
I wouldn't say so much a life safety just because we don't go through the inspection process.
Okay. $6,750, even on a repeat, feels a little steep to me without there being some safety component. I say that I'm not asking you to change your request. I'm saying that to let you know where I'm struggling on the request, to give you an opportunity to convince me that that's the right number, if you'd like to try.
No, sir. I leave that up to you.
Then that is one point. If there were an inspection associated with that, I would actually see $250 a day. But since it's just to let us know you're renting and there's not an inspection being performed, there wasn't a life, as you honestly testified to me, there was not a life safety issue there. So I do find that amount to be a little bit steep. So I'm gonna cut it in half. And I think on a repeat, because I do think they should have known better. And this is a company that's been in front of me for different violations about different things. So I don't have a lot of sympathy, but I still have to be fair. So I do think a little bit less than that is appropriate here. But I do find that we still need to get their attention. So that I will make that $125 a day for the 27 days. And that would be whatever half of $6,750 is.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
And I will also order the respondent to pay the administrative costs incurred by the city in the amount of $254.77. That amount to be due within 7 days of the date of my written order.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Unfinished business, notice of hearing and motion for authorization of foreclosure on code enforcement lien, case number 2022-1187, Shannon Halas, owner, location of violation, 705 Grape Avenue, St. Cloud, Florida.
Did I hear you have a file on it?
Yes.
And I have the city's file.
Okay. Thank you. So this is our request for authorization to foreclose on a lien that was first created back in December of 2022, December 29, 2022, based on an order issued by the special magistrate. As of the date of the motion, the fine in this matter has accrued to, and the lien has accrued to $98,700. This has been a problem property for the city, and the city really needs to move this thing forward to the next step, which would be to get authorization from you to foreclose on the lien that's been placed, take it in front of the city council and see how the city council wants to proceed on that. So for today, because the lien has been in place for in excess of 3 months, we'd ask for the special magistrate to issue an order authorizing foreclosure on the code enforcement lien and allowing the city to proceed in accordance with the law.
Yes, sir. And as you were speaking, I was reviewing the city's file, and I find everything you just stated to me to be consistent with what's in the file. Find proper notice was given. Find that order has been recorded for more than 90 days. Based on that, I see no reason not to authorize foreclosure. So that order is, or that request is granted.
All right, thank you. And I believe that's all we have for today.
New business none. Next scheduled meeting, July 16, 2025.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you.